I haven't had an alcoholic drink now for about 11 to 12 months. I have to say I haven't missed not drinking alcohol in the slightest. There are many reasons why I decided to give up. Primarily I decided to give up drinking just because to improve my health. Drinking alcohol never did anything for me. Thirdly, I'm really sick and tired and kind of disgusted about the attitudes that we have here in Britain towards alcohol and how our society and culture is becoming completely obsessed with the idea that you've got to drink as much as you can and get as drunk as you can, and all this binge drinking that we have here is absolutely kind of disgusts me in a way. It's terrible. For those of you that don't live in Britain, you've probably heard of binge drinking, you may have it in your own country, but we have a real problem now in this country with alcohol consumption and the amount of booze that people are drinking. It costs the economy about £6 billion a year in alcohol misuse. That includes people getting sick from alcohol, it includes people having to visit the hospital because they've fallen down in the street, it includes people having to visit the hospital because they've got into a fight, and it's just completely out of control. £3 billion of that £6 billion is just for the National Health Service. It's costing the National Health Service £3 billion a year to deal with alcohol misuse. And I don't know what the answer is, and I don't know when this started. When I was younger, people drank alcohol, they went out and they got drunk, but there wasn't this cultural thing we have in Britain now where it's just, you know, every Friday, every Saturday, you go out, you get hammered, you drink as much as you can, you fall over in the street, you throw up all over yourself, you roll around in your own vomit, and everybody thinks that's a really great time, and it's really kind of pathetic and embarrassing that Britain is becoming this kind of place. When I was younger, I used to get drunk like most younger people, and you know, you'd throw up and you'd be giddy and dizzy and not know what you were doing, and you'd wake up the next day with a hangover. There's nothing good about that. I never felt good. Nothing good about the fact that you can't walk. You have to fall over in the middle of the street. When I lived in Reading, obviously I moved here about a year ago, I used to drive into Reading on a Friday night, and the Reading town centre is just full of people kind of falling over and puking, and there's police riot vans everywhere because they've got to be in our towns and cities looking after all the drunks. Another reason why so much money is being wasted on alcohol misuse, because the police, you know, on a Friday and Saturday, they have to throw so many police officers and vehicles into the towns and cities just to look after all the drunks and stop all the fights. The doctors in this country are sort of screaming out for the government to do something about it. Every Friday and every Saturday people come in with injuries, either they've fallen over or they've got into a fight. The very next week, the very same people that came in the week before come in with similar injuries. They've got hammered, they've fallen over, they've got hammered, they've got into a fight. And a lot of doctors are saying, we're seeing the same people come into hospital week after week after week, and it's all because they've got pissed on drinking so much. They get injured, they come in. Next week, they do exactly the same thing. This is one of the reasons why I decided to quit drinking. I don't want to be a part of this culture and this society where people just think throwing as much booze down your throat as possible is this wonderful thing. And the really sad thing about these people who drink so much is that they think somehow it makes them hard. It makes them tough, you know? I go out on a Friday and a Saturday and I can swallow liquid. I can swallow alcohol and I can fall over and puke and piss myself, and they just think it makes them tough. And if you don't drink alcohol, somehow you're not tough. You're not tough because you don't drink and you don't get drunk. I mean, we see photographs. If you go onto Google and just Google, you know, drunk British woman in the street or something, we see photographs in the media here in Britain every week of women, you know, walking through the street in their town centre with their knickers around their ankles because they're just squatted down in the middle of the street to take a piss because she's so drunk she doesn't even know what she's doing. We see it all the time. Those of you that don't have binge drinking culture in your countries might not believe me, but we have this epidemic of alcohol consumption now in this country, and it's so out of control. £6 billion a year of taxpayers' money is being wasted looking after people who are so thick and so stupid that they go out on a Friday and Saturday, get drunk and hurt themselves and end up in hospital And they're so thick and stupid and idiotic that the very next week they go out and they do the very same thing, you know. That's one reason that I gave up. I just don't want to be a part of that idiotic culture. Alcohol is very bad for you. It raises the chance of all kinds of horrible cancers, damage to your liver. So that's another great reason. Probably the main reason is the reason that I just don't want to be a part of this idiotic, pathetic, disgusting, embarrassing culture that we have in Britain of binge drinking morons who just can't seem to do anything, any activity, without having a drink in their hand. Because you've got to have a drink in your hand or you can't have fun. Well, everybody likes to have a drink and get drunk occasionally, but if you get to the stage where we have now in British society where huge numbers of people can't have fun or do anything without getting drunk, then that's a problem. I don't know what the answer is. The only answer for me is just not to drink. I don't want to drink alcohol. Well, why? I don't want to drink alcohol for the same reason that I no longer smoke cigarettes. Why would I want to give my money to a company that gives me something in return that is basically poisoning my body, turning me into a moron, raising the chances of me getting some terrible illness? I'm very happy and very proud, despite living in a country whose culture is, you know, why aren't you drinking? Very happy and very proud that I'm not a part of that culture, and that's probably the biggest reason why I choose not to drink alcohol.